Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
I think the biggest thing is we just try to preach to our guys, be the best competitor you can be every single day. You know, whether I'm hitting you fourth, hitting you seventh, you don't need to look into any of that. You know, just be selfless.
You know, I don't want to jeopardize next weekend to win this tournament, but we want to win this tournament. We're going to do everything we can, but I don't want to do something that's going to cost us.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, here on a very busy Friday night as we take you into the Memorial Day weekend. First of all, have a great weekend. Please be safe driving out there. We'll be with you on Monday night as well, live here on Sports Talk. We know no holiday here on Sports Talk, okay? There's no holiday that's been created that will keep us off the air. So we'll be here Monday night with all the reaction from the selections by the NCAA Baseball Selection Committee. The sites come out on Sunday, and the team pairings, the regional pairings, come out noon or 12:30, I think noon on Monday. And certainly a great day for the Clemson Tigers as they get an impressive win over Louisville and put themselves in position possibly to get to the championship. Well, they're in position, depending on what happens between Wake Forest and Virginia or what happens between Clemson and Wake Forest tomorrow. K-Mac will explain in a moment. And Coastal Carolina, big win for the Chanticleers. They are playing for the Big South Championship tomorrow over in Lexington. We'll catch you up on all that. Jay Urich commits to USC today. We'll hear from him tonight on Sports Talk. But let's go to Durham right off the bat. A lot of things are going off the Clemson bats today as the Tigers showed their power at the plate and on the mound. K-Mac, impressive win by Clemson today over Louisville.
Yeah, they're peaking at the right time. They won 14 of 18, and they won over Louisville, the top-ranked team in the RPI, Louisville, 5-3. 4 homers, as you mentioned. Reed Wallman hadn't homered all season. He hit 2 today. Seth Beer, he has homered a lot this season. He hit his 16th. Weston Wilson hit a home run, and then Clayton Schmidt on the mound almost got the complete game, 8 2/3 inning of work, and 6 strikeouts, just 1 walk, very sharp, and the Tigers in the catbird seat here.
Absolutely. And so Wake Forest, this game has gone a little bit back and forth. Virginia had the early lead. Wake Forest has come storming back, and Wake Forest is leading Virginia top of the 8th, 10-7. So, K-Mac, if Wake wins, it'll be winner take all in that pool tomorrow between Clemson and Wake to get to the championship game.
Well, it'll be winner take all for Clemson. Wake would need a little help. They would need Virginia to beat Louisville, since Louisville did beat Wake Forest in this pool already. So it will be winner take all for the Tigers. So if they win tomorrow, they're in. If Virginia comes back and wins this one, the Tigers will be in too, regardless of what happens tomorrow.
Okay. We'll catch up on all the baseball scores. We'll hear from the Tigers. We'll hear from Coach Gary Gilmore and Jay Urich. All that and more coming up here on Sports Talk. And we're back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Hope you've had a great Friday. It's been a beautiful day outside around the Palmetto States. We thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us all week. You have been dialing in. Invite your input if you want to join us, 800-956-7266. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @sportstalksc. We'll go over some Twitter stuff tonight as well. And the email, too. We've gotten a lot of different opinions about a variety of topics over the past week or so here at Sports Talk. I'd like to share that with you as we can tonight. But let's go back out to KMAC. Clemson in great shape after beating Louisville today. Louisville, the number one team in the RPI, a team that beat Clemson in a series earlier in the season, a team that came in with a terrific team batting average. Excellent pitching, KMAC, but none of that mattered to the Tigers. They got some great pitching themselves. The thing about Clemson, though, in this tournament and something they've done here of late, the timely hitting and some unsung heroes stepping up and playing big roles for the Tigers.
Yeah, Triller was a big hero yesterday against Virginia, and today you had Reed Wallman, who I mentioned in the Open, hadn't hit a homer all season. He smacked two of them. He moved down a little bit in the lineup and was batting in the 7-hole behind Chris Williams, and he got the job done. He started K.J. Bryant. Monty Lee started K.J. Bryant, and he got a couple of hits, including a double. So everything, score a run, everything that he's doing right now is working. And Clay Schmidt, who got off to a great start this season, and then he was scuffling a little bit, hit a mid-season slump. He seems to be back to his old self again. If they have him going, along with Barnes, Krall, they have some really good arms. Krall got the save today. He's got a win and a save here. It's just all coming together for the Tigers right now. They're speaking with confidence. They're feeling really good about things. They have answered all the questions about a regional. They are hosting a regional. And talking to Aaron Fitt, they could play themselves into a super regional hosting spot, depending on how some things shake out. Remember, Clemson's top 8 RPI right now, and they just picked up another win over Louisville. They'll get a game tomorrow, a chance to get another big game in the championship.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive for a team that at one point towards the latter part of the season, before they started winning a few games, people, I don't think anybody doubted they were going to make the NCAA tournament. I think they were in pretty good shape for that most of the way. But now they have really pushed themselves up. Their RPI, as I check it, the live RPI actually has them at number 7 right now, trailing Louisville, Miami, Florida, A&M, Ole Miss, LSU, and then there's Clemson at number 7. Vandy's 8, USC's 9, and Mississippi State is 10. Now, as we look ahead to things, and Coastal Carolina sitting there at 13, Coastal will play Liberty tomorrow. How about that? That's the way it should be in that league. Liberty against Coastal. Gary Gilmore against Jim Toman over in Lexington. And tell you what happened there today real quick, and then we'll get back to our conversation. It was Coastal 5-1 over Longwood. They got tremendous pitching, limited Longwood to 5 hits, and some timely hitting, obviously. And Liberty has just beaten Radford 11-10. to advance to the championship game. Winner take all, one game, 12 o'clock tomorrow over in Lexington. So I think South Carolina, Clemson, and Coastal will all host. I think that will happen. And I think that the committee will pair two of those teams together in the bracket, so they'll meet if they happen to win their regional. So they'll meet in a super regional, which of course would guarantee the state of South Carolina at least one team in Omaha if it happens that way. That's what I think. You know, if that plays out, if those three get regional hosts sites, certainly the committee is going to set it up so that two winners are going to meet in a super regional.
Well, one of them would have to get a national seed then, right? Because the 8 national seeds are the ones that get the supers. And if they all win, they'll all have super regionals.
Yeah, that's right. The 8 national seeds will get super regionals. That's correct. So that would probably have to only be Clemson. Yeah, Clemson would be the only one that would be. I don't see South Carolina getting a national seed anymore.
No.
I mean, these tournaments have to stand for something. And I hear what Chad Holbrook was saying over the 2 days at Hoover, that their regular season, winning the SEC East, winning 42 games, 20 games in the SEC. That's all great and no doubt about it. But unfortunately, this postseason counts too. That's why these tournaments are played, not just to make the money and for television exposure, but they do mean something in the minds of the committee. How you finish is important to these folks. So I think Carolina has played its way out of a top 8 national seed. Clemson may have played its way in. And but you're right. You got to consider. I didn't think about that totally. You got to consider that the top 8 national seeds, they're the ones who automatically will host a super regional if they win their region. So I have to presume that Clemson's going to get that super regional top 8 seed, probably number 8 as things stand now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I am convinced that the 3 state teams are going to host. I don't see how Coastal doesn't host with the way they've been playing, got the facility for it. As long as they don't stub their toe tomorrow against Liberty, I think Coastal's in.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And that would be a historic feat. There's never been 3 host teams in an NCAA regional in South Carolina. But I do think as long as Coastal takes care of business, they'll be at home no matter what. Clemson's at home. South Carolina's at home. So the only if now is what's going to happen with Clemson here. They're not done yet. They're guaranteed no matter what to play tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and they'll control their own destiny. And Virginia now down to its final at-bat here against Wake Forest. They need to play at least 3 to extend this 4 to win it. It's the top of the ninth, so Wake will get another bat. So it looks like Clemson's going to have to beat Wake Forest tomorrow to advance to the championship. Keep in mind, Wake Forest will be playing its 4th game in 5 days tomorrow. They had to beat Duke on Tuesday just to get into the pool play.
Yeah, what a run. Give us a quick recap on Clemson win today, K-Mac.
It's, again, got it done, as we mentioned, with Schmidt on the mound, brother of Gamecock ace Clark Schmidt, with his strong pitching and the offense. I mean, Louisville scored first, and then Clemson answered in the bottom of the 2nd inning with a home run by Weston Wilson that went over 400 feet. I mean, he just smoked it. And there's been 4 home runs in that game, all hit by Clemson. There's been 5 in the second game, so 9 home runs through 2 games here today. The ball's flying out of the park. But then Louisville went on a little bit of a run. They had a 3-1 cushion going into the bottom of the 5th inning. Clemson played at 2. They got a home run from Reed Rollman, his first, and they ended up loading the bases, and Seth Beer drove in a run when he was hit by a pitch. But the Tigers tied it up then in the 6th inning, got another home run from Reed Rollman, his second, and then in the 7th, another home run, this one coming from Seth Beer, and the Tigers won it 5-3.
All right, great win for Clemson today. And like we've talked about already, puts them in excellent position. Wake Forest and Virginia watching this game, top of the 9th. Virginia trying to rally. I think they just scored. K-Mac makes it 10-8. Wake Forest still leading. Virginia has a runner on second. So Virginia trying to stage a rally here in the latter portions of this game.
And I would not count this one as over because, as I mentioned, Wake has fired through a lot of its pitching. In fact, I think they're putting out an ad in the stands here to see if anybody's got any eligibility left to close this thing out.
Yeah, you have to wonder, if they make it to tomorrow, what do they have left? Well, they're going to make it to tomorrow, but I mean, what will they have left? What about Clemson tomorrow? What's their pitching plans?
Well, we don't know. Monty said, Monty's always very open, but he said they're going to wait and see what happens with this game. And if they don't need to win tomorrow to get to the championship, I think that's going to change their thinking where they can save their best guy, who they think is their best guy for the matchup that they're going to have. It'll either be Florida State or Miami. Those 2 teams play tomorrow as well in the midday game. One of those 2 teams will be on the other side of the pool playing against either Clemson or Louisville. Everybody else has been eliminated from this tournament.
Well, think about Clemson now. win tomorrow, get to the championship game, or however you get the championship game, and beat Miami or Florida State. That gets you that top 8 seed. Be right back. It's getting dicey in Durham. Wake outfielder, right fielder just made a great running, diving catch for the first out of the inning, but now Cavaliers have corners with 1 out in the top of the 9th, and this is good for Clemson. I mean, Clemson wants Virginia to win. Virginia wins, Clemson's in to Sunday. So this is all good for the Tigers. It's good in a couple of ways. Number one, Virginia might come back and win this thing. Number two, if Wake Forest wins, I mean, they're burning up their bullpen. They got a meeting on the mound right now. They're burning up their bullpen and having to work extra hard. That's got to work in Clemson's favor. So we'll hear from Monty Lee and the Tigers coming up in just a little bit. Jay Urich in the next hour on his commitment to USC as well. Let me catch you up on other baseball. So I mentioned Big South. Coastal wins 5-1. Liberty wins 11-10. They'll play at noon tomorrow for the championship. Colonial, Wilmington beat Charleston 6-1. William and Mary beat Northwestern 5-1. And now, tonight, Charleston will play William and Mary in that elimination game to get to the championship game. SoCon, it's East Tennessee State leading Sanford 11-8 in the 8th. And Greensboro and Furman, they'll play tonight. That's at Fluor Field in Greenville. And in the SEC tournament, it's elimination day there in Hoover. And, boy, Vandy, they just got hammered their last two. What happened to Vandy's pitching? Texas A&M beat Vandy 13-3. Mercy rule. Lord have mercy. They called it after 7. Lack of pitching, lack of offense, and lack of interest. A&M won it 13-3. Coming up, Florida, Mississippi State. LSU's a team that has really benefited there at the SEC tournament with their great run now. They're now number 6 came back in the RPI. So they've played themselves from, maybe on the bubble, maybe even out of the conversation for a top 8 seed to right there in the middle of it now with their run in Hoover.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's what you can do. And the committee, they remember how you played down the stretch and how you finish. And as much as they want to say the tournament can only help you, it can't hurt you, that's just not true, because that's the last impression you get to make. And sometimes that's that old adage in our business, you're only as good as your last show. And sometimes you're only as good as your last game when it comes to conference tournaments.
Virginia has scored another run. It's 10-9, 2 out, runner on first. Tying run is on first. And so it's drama like you have never seen it before in Durham. Not at Cameron Indoor Stadium, not at Wallace Wade Stadium. This is drama at Durham Bulls Athletic Park like you've never seen before on Tobacco Road. We'll let you know what happens when we come back from the break. We'll also hear from Monty Lee coming up here in just a couple of moments. Stay with us here. It's Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Okay, it's all over. It's all over in Durham, and Wake Forest has held on to beat Virginia 10-9. So Clemson and Wake tomorrow. And again, K-Mac, we had a caller asked to further explain. Clemson wins tomorrow. They go to the championship. If Clemson loses tomorrow to Wake Forest, they can still get to the championship.
If they lose to Wake Forest tomorrow, that would make them 2-1. And then if Louisville lost, no, actually they couldn't, because that would put Wake Forest in. Now, if they lose tomorrow, they will not be in the championship.
So it's winner take all for the two of them.
Well,
tomorrow.
For Clemson, Wake Forest needs some help. They need Louisville to beat Virginia to beat Louisville, because Louisville beat Wake Forest.
Okay.
For Virginia, they were eliminated from this tournament. The number 3 seed, they were eliminated before they got off the bus today. They'd only played one game, lost to Clemson yesterday, but they were eliminated from this tournament before they got off the bus.
Yeah, I know this tournament, the way the format is, has some quirks to it, but I do like how, well, a couple of things. A, I like how you can set your pitching up. You know you're going to play 3 games and then a championship game if you get that far, but you know you're going to play at least 3. And number 2, 3 games a day is a lot easier on everybody than the 4 games a day you play at the SEC tournament. I mean, it's ridiculous how when you're playing 4 games a day, how late into the night you have to play. I left Hoover last night about 8:30 after the show, driving all the way back to Columbia, and that the last game was either just over or still going on by the time I got back to Columbia around 1:30. It's not fair to the players, and it's not fair to the fans, really, to make them sit out there for so long and so late in the night.
Yeah, I mean, they have 3 games. Last night's game was pretty long here, but it still ended at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it makes much more sense that way. But anyway, we'll see what the SEC does next week in Destin, and talking about where they're going to play the tournament and what they're going to do format-wise. So, a very happy Monty Lee today, no doubt. He's 2-0 all-time in ACC tournament conference play. You can't top that. Not only that, he's beaten 2 of the top 5 teams in the country, including the defending national champion, the team ranked number 1 in the RPI going in. You had a chance to talk to him, K-Mac.
Yes, I did, and I asked him what's been the key for them to knock off 2 potential national seeds in consecutive days here.
Well, it all starts with starting pitching. We've gotten 2 really good starts, from Charlie Barnes and Clayton Schmidt, and our bullpen has been. Good thing about it is we haven't had to go to our bullpen early because we've gotten good starts. Defensively, we still haven't played as well as I would have liked, but we've made some big plays. We've made some nice plays later in the ball game that helped us. And offensively, I think the key for us is we've been able to get production throughout the lineup. Whether it's a walk, a hit batter, moving a runner over, getting a bunt down. We've been doing some things offensively within the lineup that has helped us win. And again, we won the free battle again today. We only walked 1 guy and struck out 6, but we walked 7 times today and got hit by a pitch. So we had, 8 free 90s right there. And that was the difference. That was the difference yesterday. The big thing for us is we got to grind out every at bat and try to find a way to get multiple base runners on base. And when we do that, we score runs. So that's the big thing is we've been getting production out of lineup, great starting pitching. Defensively, we'd like to play a little bit better, especially early in the game. Because we gave them a run, and you give runs to teams like Louisville, they're going to beat you. But it was all about Clay today. I mean, the reason we won that game was Clay. Clay held on and gave us such a great start.
Yeah, they have guys in their lineup up and down hitting over 300. I think all but 2 are over 300, and the other 2 are near 300. What's the approach when you're going after guys like that? What was his approach going on the mound that made him so effective?
I thought the thing that Clay did a really good job of today is he pitched on the edges of the strike zone. His fastball, he kept his fastball down, and his fastball had some late life and some ardent side run. So their left-handed hitters were swinging at a pitch that they saw middle away, and it's darting down and away from them. They wound up hitting it on the ground or hitting it on the end of the bat. When he threw his breaking ball, down and got them to swing over the top of it. The big thing for him is he was very aggressive on the edges of the strike zone and made some big pitches.
you've been getting production, as you said, up and down your lineup, and some guys, yesterday it was Triller, today it's Rollman, and I know you tweaked where Rollman was batting a little bit. Is it just kind of coming together for these guys right now, and is that what you have to have happen to make a run in a tournament like this and into the postseason?
I think the biggest thing is we just try to preach to our guys, be the best competitor you can be every single day. Whether I'm hitting you fourth, hitting you seventh, you don't need to look into any of that. Just be selfless. Wherever I put you in the lineup, be productive and have productive at bats. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Go up there, have a good approach, take your best swing, play hard on defense, play aggressive on defense, play aggressive on the mound. Everything that we do, we want to be aggressive and compete as hard as we can. And I don't want anybody to ever show any sort of bad body language or frustration, based on where I hit them. Just go out there and play. And that's what Reed does. Reed is such a selfless kid. I've hit him in a number of spots in the lineup. He's been up and down offensively, but the guy can really hit. The guy can really swing the bat, and he had 2 big at bats off of a tough pitcher today and helped us win a ball game.
By the time you go to sleep tonight, you guys could have already clinched the spot in the championship game. Certainly, you're going to have it in your own hands. I mean, that's got to be a great feeling.
It is a feeling, especially you look at, again, the way we've been playing at the end of the year here to come into the ACC tournament and beat a Virginia team that won the national championship last year, and to beat Louisville today. Louisville, in my opinion, and I haven't seen everybody, but Louisville's the best team we've seen. It's the best team I've seen all year. And it's only going to help us from a confidence standpoint moving forward to be able to beat 2 quality opponents, two great clubs that have great coaching staffs that do an unbelievable job. I'm very proud of our team and how we've competed and found a way to win.
You've been making your case for a host spot in the regional. You don't have to do that anymore. Obviously now, I mean, maybe a top 8 national seed could be on the table.
Why not? Why not? We play. We're going to be here tomorrow, and we're playing. We're always playing for something. That's the thing. Depending on the other games and how it shakes out, as far as whether we're in the championship or we got to win tomorrow, don't have to win tomorrow. I don't really care about all that. I mean, the bottom line is we got a game tomorrow, and we're going to show up. We're going to compete. I'm going to do everything I can to get my ball club ready to play their best baseball tomorrow, and that's what we do every single day, and that's what these guys do every day. We show up ready to compete every single day. So that's going to be our big message is we're going to enjoy this one this afternoon, and we're going to enjoy the opportunity to come out tomorrow, understanding where we're at in this tournament and what we've accomplished. But we're going to come out ready to go tomorrow.
Okay, Monty Lee with K-Mac after the Tigers win today. K-Mac following your tweets at the Sports Talk SC and occasionally over there at K-Mac Will Soon Die. Is it K-Mac Will Soon Die? No, what is it?
K-Mac Must Die.
Okay, K-Mac Must Die. Not Will Soon. Will Soon sounds a little more.
I couldn't soon die, but yeah, K-Mac Must Die.
Well, we prefer the must over the Will Soon. Anyway.
Well, yeah.
Monty Lee's having a heck of a tournament so far with his decision-making and his moves, isn't he?
He is. Everything he does is coming up gold. And I'll take just his style. And I know he worked under Ray Tanner and learned under Ray Tanner. Clemson does kind of have a Ray Tanner coach team feel. They hit the long ball. They hit 4 home runs today. Lee takes that kind of go with my gut, my feeling. I have a feeling about this guy. He'll tweak things. He'll call a timeout before or during an at-bat and talk to a guy about his approach at the plate. So it's striking the similarities between those two.
Yep. And the winning is pretty striking as well. He's getting it done. Yeah. Getting it done against the competition that's thrown out there in front of him, and that's what you have to do this time of year. And so, boy, what a turnaround for Clem. To be honest with you, a couple of weeks ago, sitting here, never thought that they'd be in a position to host a regional. Thought for sure that they'd be going somewhere, maybe coastal. And now, not only are they going to host, but we're talking seriously about them being in a super regional host position as well. And then, South Carolina, same time, a couple of weeks ago, you're talking about them being a super regional host. And now it appears they're certainly out as far as the top 8 conversation is concerned. All right, we'll hit a break. And coming up, we'll turn our attention to the Gamecocks. Good day for them in football, as Wren quarterback Jay Urich pulled the trigger on his commitment to USC. We will hear from him, find out why it's the Gamecocks for him and what he's going to bring to the table coming up here on Sports Talk. All right, quick update from the NCAA Men's Golf Championships. Clemson currently tied for second at 2 under par. Tigers playing the number 5 through 8 holes. They are a shot back of Florida State. USC went out this morning, shot 7 over. At one point, they were 3 under and in the lead. Finished at 7 over, tied for 17th right now. Details coming up. The big news for USC today is the commitment from quarterback Jay Urich from Wren High School. He joins us now here on Sports Talk. Congratulations. And how's it feel to you to get this done and make your decision to join the Gamecocks?
Man, it feels so good right now. It's a relief off my shoulders, and it's just a good time to be a Gamecock, and I'm excited to get down.
When your process started, the whole recruiting thing for you, and you were getting some good offers, not to take away from anybody, but they were the smaller school variety, FCS and mid-major, a couple of places, that sort of thing. And now you end up at the end of the day, you get Duke coming in, and South Carolina, of course, has been there for several weeks. Did you envision that eventually becoming the case, getting some Power 5 conference offers?
Oh, yes, sir. I envisioned that. I had big goals and aspirations, and I just feel blessed to be in the position I'm in and have the opportunity to choose from, a big group of great schools.
You could have gone high academic, Harvard, Duke,
yes,
and you're going to go high football, USC, SEC, but good academics as well. How did you balance academics and your football desires in making the decision?
Yeah, that was the whole idea that my parents and I were trying to figure out, what's a good balance. And I felt like South Carolina gave me that best opportunity with, great academics, but also great football in the SEC and in my home state in Columbia.
You said today after your announcement that you didn't make your decision until today. I mean, were you really undecided going up to the last few minutes before you pulled out the Gamecock cap?
Yes, sir.
And what made the difference for South Carolina here at the very end?
I don't know. I think it was just the feeling I had when I went down and visited multiple times. Although the relationships that I built with all the coaches and just being in my home state, playing in front of Williams-Brice Stadium on a Saturday night, it's just something that I don't think I could pass up. But I'm grateful for. It was a hard decision. Duke's a great school, and I feel really blessed to get an opportunity to play there. But in the end, South Carolina is where I felt that I needed to be.
Yeah. And you were being recruited by brothers, right? The Roper brothers, one at Duke and one at USC. That had to be a little weird.
Yes, sir. It was different, but I enjoyed getting to know both of them. And, there was definitely some similarities and they're great, both guys. And it was an awesome opportunity to get to know both of them.
What does Coach Muschamp say to you and Coach Roper? What does he say to you about what they like about you as a quarterback and how they see you fitting in their offense?
Yeah, they like me for my dual threat ability. When a play breaks down, I can make something out of nothing and also sit back there and deliver the ball accurately. And they just both they like me, and they like things off the field too, academics and leadership and stuff like that. But they definitely like how I'm a dual threat quarterback. Yeah.
People might not realize, but you accounted for about 4,000 total yards last year and 40 touchdowns throwing and running. So you do it both ways. And you're also a track athlete and did a great job on the Wren track team this year.
Yes, sir. That's correct. It was we ran this 4x4 and 4x1.
Does that help you with your football escapability skills that you run track and, help you with your speed and flexibility and things of that nature?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes, sir. It was my first year actually running track, and we did really great. We actually finished fourth in the state in the 4x4. But definitely, it's good to get out there and be with your teammates. We actually had 4 guys that were running in both events that were all football players and all seniors. So it was good to get out there and run with them and have that bond. But also, it helps with a lot of different things with your speed and quickness and stuff like that. So it's definitely already helped a lot.
Now your plans to graduate early, and then you'll have McElwain and Bentley waiting for you when you get there in January. How about getting to know those guys better and competing with them when you get there in 2017?
Oh yeah, I feel like it's an awesome opportunity to go down there and compete with those guys. I know they're both great guys, and I'm just excited to get down there and meet them and start that relationship and become great friends. compete.
Well, I know Gamecock fans are ecstatic to have you. Another recruiting win in state for South Carolina, and a guy that is certainly taking his talents to the top and improving on a daily basis. 6'4" and pushing about 200 now, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Yep, and can put on about, another 20 pounds or so if necessary?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, in day weekend and a little bit of off season that you have, I know you'll be getting ready for your high school season here soon. We thank you for joining us, and congratulations once again.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Our pleasure. Jay Urich, 6'4", 198. That's a big quarterback. Bentley's a big quarterback. McElwain's not so big, but he's pretty fast. So that's 3 good young ones for the Gamecocks. Back in a moment. Thanks again to Jay Urich for joining us here on Sports Talk. He's the 10th commitment in the 2017 class for USC and the 7th who's from the state. So one thing that South Carolina is trying to do, and I think it's a good strategy on their part, knowing when they came, they were going to trail Clemson in state recruiting in terms of the overall talent in the class, because Clemson right now is recruiting at such a high level to where the Tigers are passing on a lot of good in-state players for what they think are better players outside the state. Time will tell who's right in making these personnel decisions, but Clemson is trying to recruit the highest-ranked players nationally. I think South Carolina, Muschamp and company realized that where they were stepping in, that was going to be tough for them to do, to try, not that they're trying to compete with Clemson, so to speak, but you, of course, you're keeping an eye on what your in-state rival is doing. You know what they're doing. And also knowing that, considering the state of the program when they took over, the reputation being damaged after last season, it would be hard to attract the big national name, for the most part, to come to Columbia. They can rely on some of their previous contacts and personal relationships on some guys and maybe, get some looks and some visits and maybe win some of those. But by and large, it was going to be tough. So what they did, of course, is really hit the state of South Carolina extremely hard from the beginning to finish up the 2016 class and to get underway this 2017 recruiting, offer a lot of kids. And you know what? It's paying off. It's really paying off for them in terms of getting good South Carolina players. Are they the most heavily recruited players in the country? Some of them no. Some of them don't have a glossy list of major offers. But I always believe that an in-state player gives you a little something extra because he's playing for the state school, whether he goes to Clemson or to South Carolina. And maybe in some way that makes up for a half second on your 40 here or an extra 10 pounds on the deadlift, whatever the case may be. But, right now they lead for Trey Lawson. They're very much in the hunt with Ortre Smith, very much in the hunt for Brad Johnson. Lummy Young in the hunt for him. I mean, there's 5, 6, 7 others in the state that South Carolina, if things fall their way, could end up getting in South Carolina. Nebraska today offered 2018 defensive lineman Stephon Wynn Jr. of TL Hanna. And that's really the only other recruiting note I have today. The Urick story, of course, being the big one in recruiting. All right, top of the hour break. Jim Toman. Coach Gilmore's tied up with some ESPN stuff. Jim Toman will join us at 7:10, head coach at Liberty. What can he do with Coastal Carolina tomorrow? I think he knows his only way into the NCAA tournament is to win that game tomorrow. Coastal's in the NCAA tournament and probably going to host. Liberty's got to win tomorrow at high noon to get in. We'll talk with him coming up. The full Monty on NASCAR as well. It's Indy weekend, 600 weekend. Plenty of racing to discuss here on Sports Talk.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
And we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, wrapping up a busy, busy week. Good to be back from Hoover. Who knows if we'll be going back to Hoover next year for the SEC tournament. The Gamecocks hope not. I mean, maybe they just need a change in scenery. Yeah, it happens sometimes. Change in scenery, it happens in athletics all the time. Coach wants a change in scenery, he leaves. Player wants a change in scenery, he leaves. Things go better for you. Maybe USC needs a change in scenery. Maybe that tournament needs to move to Memphis or Nashville or somewhere else. And they've just got that such a negativity, I'm sure. They won't admit it, but every time they go into Hoover, even though they drive by Hoover to go to Tuscaloosa, they won 3 in Tuscaloosa just last week. Something about Hoover affects the Gamecocks' performance oddly, and they just play bad baseball. It's just hard to figure. Now, can they restart their engines and get it going in the right direction by Friday when they'll host a regional? Chad Holbrook thinks so. He doesn't seem to be too concerned. Well, there's some concern. He's concerned about the lack of hitting in certain parts of the lineup. Certainly, he had to be concerned by the fact that they committed, 6 errors? They had more errors in the tournament than runs. That's not good. That's not good. And they just got to regain their confidence and their swagger. That's what happens when you go 0-2 in the tournament like that. We'll update baseball. Jim Toman's going to join us. Want to get to this couple of other big stories to talk about. Ole Miss, Auburn yesterday, Ole Miss today. Ole Miss releasing the notice of allegations from the NCAA, 28 violations by its athletic programs, 13 in football. Of those 13, 8 level 1, the most serious kind, 9 of the 13 occurring under Hugh Freeze. As a response to the allegation, the school plans to self-impose an 11 scholarship reduction in football. 1 scholarship from the 2015 class, 2 from the 2016 class, and 4 each from 2017-2018. The athletic director and the chancellor released a statement admitting some wrongdoing. The NCAA has alleged, and we agree, that serious violations have occurred. Most of the more significant violations resulted from either intentional misconduct and efforts to conceal that misconduct by former employees who face unethical conduct charges and personal sanctions, or actions by individual boosters who conducted themselves contrary to the rules of education provided by the university. For 27 of the 28 allegations, we agree a violation occurred. However, for several of those, we do not agree on all the facts. For 5 of those 27, we believe the violation should be classified differently. In other words, not as serious. Be right back. Now, Coach Tolman must be on that same conference call right now with Coach Gilmore with the ESPNU. They're broadcasting that game tomorrow for the Big South Championship. We'll catch up with him just a couple of minutes. He asked us to check back with him in just a few minutes, and we will do just that so we can chat with him, the former USC assistant, now the head coach at Liberty, preparing to take on Coastal Carolina tomorrow. I think it'll be kind of neat to hear from our old friend Jim Tolman, so we'll get that to you here in just a little bit. Let me update a few things going on. NCAA golf, Clemson still on the course, trying to move up as best as it can. Tigers are on holes 6 through 9. They're 2 under par for their round right now. They're in second place, 2 shots behind Florida State. Florida State is 4 under. Clemson is 2 under. Right now for the Tigers, the freshman, Bryson Nimmer, made the turn at 2 under. He's gone to 3 under. He's got the best score of the day for the Tigers thus far. Stephen Bear is on the course at 1 under par. All right, so Clemson, good start for the Tigers playing in the afternoon wave. USC went out this morning, got off to a good start, got to 3 under, got to the lead for a few minutes. Watching a college golf tournament, the lead changes hands, like a NASCAR race every few minutes, it seems, or seconds in some cases. And the Gamecocks faltered down the stretch. They end up at 7 over, excuse me, tied for 16th right now. Only one golfer broke par for USC today. Will Stark, 3 under 67. Keegan Husky, even par 70 for him. And then everybody else, 5 over 75. Matt Neesmith, Sean Kelly, and Scott Stevens all shot 5 over 75 for the Gamecocks today. It just looks like nobody finished up well for South Carolina. I see late bogeys on all the cards for the most part, except for Stark and even Husky. Husky had it going well. He took a couple of late. So actually, he started on number 1. So he did take a couple of late bogeys. He finished up on the regular backside, so he took bogeys at 16 and 18 that kept him from being under par. But it's early on, and Gamecocks at plus. So right now they are 11 shots back of the lead. Now Florida State has added another stroke to its lead on Clemson. Tigers are 2 back now, but still sitting in second. They're a shot ahead of Southern Cal. Speaking of Clemson, good day on the diamond as they beat Louisville today to put themselves in position to play for a spot in the championship game tomorrow against Wake Forest. A number of heroes for the Tigers. We heard from Monty Lee. K-Mac is back with us from Durham. And, some unsung heroes, but, Seth Beer, he's not going to keep that guy hitless too many times, and he got his big home run today too.
He did. He had 16 home runs on the season. That's a freshman record. Broke Khalil Green's freshman record of 15, and Khalil did that back in 2000. And what a great career Khalil Green had, and then went on to the major leagues. And Seth Beer certainly looks like he's well on his way to doing that. And he's reached base now in 53 straight games, which, again, that's just mind-boggling in its own right. So doing a lot of big things.
What was the difference today as opposed to the last time you faced these guys up there at Louisville?
I think that today, I knew going into it, especially the previous starts and outings, I was coming in there with a different confidence level. And our defense and offense has been really clicking as of late, and as they always have been. And it was I was really fortunate to be able to go in there with a lot of confidence and just try to execute pitches and get us out and back into the dugout as quickly as possible.
Reed, second day in a row that you guys have faced the first team all-conference pitcher, and it doesn't look like you guys are scared at all when you're up there.
No, sir. We have faced McKay earlier in the year, and I got to give credit to Connor Jones. He's a great pitcher, and we put together some great at-bats. But McKay, we knew he'd like to throw the fastball. We had a great pitching plan. Give credit to our coaches for that, but we just stuck to it. We knew we were going to have to turn around this fastball today, and it worked out in our favor.
Reed, I have to ask. Did you not like dropping to 7th in the order? It looked like you swung a little angry out there today. And Coach, yeah.
No, I got to trust the coaches. I mean, it's no secret I've been struggling a little bit as of late, and Chris Williams has been swinging it back great, but it doesn't matter where in the lineup. You're still just as important, so I just got to keep the same approach, keep swinging the bat, and it turned out well today.
Clay, Louisville's hitters said they thought your fastball was more explosive today than the last time you faced them. And it seemed like you're able to hold your velocity pretty well today. Do you feel like physically, are you just stronger at this point in the season than you were, maybe midway through?
Yeah. I also made a couple mechanical changes with Coach C after we faced Louisville. And I started to get back a little bit of velo and have more late life to it like I used to have. And I think that was something that's benefited me as a pitcher and being able to go in deep into games.
Seth, could you have imagined that you would set the Clemson record for home runs by a freshman this season?
Say what?
I don't know. Like, with the sport of baseball, you can't predict anything. And that's something, you got to think about, season by season. It could change on a dime. So obviously I wasn't coming into Clemson, this early spring thinking, I was going to break the record for home runs. But, it's a pretty cool accomplishment. And, I'm honored to hold that. But the other thing is that I want to say is just, my teammates been picking me up lately. And, obviously we got a great squad and they've been picking me up. And, it's just been a great experience to be a part of a club like this. And, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Seth, have you changed your approach at all? You haven't seen a lot of good pitches to hit over the last month and a half.
Just small adjustments, maybe looking in on some pitches, on the inner half of the plate or looking away because, teams are starting to mix it up on, where they're pitching me and, with the shifts and all that kind of stuff to adjust to that. It's been, a work in progress. It's been tough. But, it's good to have the sense of knowing, that your teammates can pick you up, obviously, last game and obviously this game. And just to be able to adjust to that. And, the one I put a good swing on, I was just looking for a pitch, in on me. And, I put a good swing on it. So it was pretty fun.
Clay, you guys have been through a lot the last 4 years. Can you talk about right now what it means that whatever happens this afternoon or at least tomorrow, a game for playing for an ACC championship?
I mean, we've unfortunately in the past have been snake bitten when it comes to ACC tournament, and we would get 2 wins. I think it was my sophomore year we got 2 wins and then only lost 1. And to be able to be in the position where we are, it's a huge thing for our team. And to be able to say the confidence level that we have coming in right now in the postseason, it's massive right now. And these guys have come in and day out and been able to execute on the offensive side and defensive side. And they have picked us up time and time again throughout the year with pitching. And now that that's starting to click, we're really a force to be reckoned with.
A force to be reckoned with indeed. Today, Weston Wilson had a hit, an RBI. Roman had the 2 home runs and the 2 RBIs. And KJ Bryant gives the Tigers K-Mac some explosiveness. He's got some speed, and he plays with a lot of emotion out there too.
Yeah, well, the whole team's playing with emotion right now and confidence. They might be the 6th seed in this tournament, but there's no seed in there that's playing with more swagger right now than Clemson. And it is pretty crazy, like we've discussed, that now we're legitimately talking about this team not hosting. We know they will now. But maybe a super regional for a team that last week when they went to South Bend to play Notre Dame, it wasn't a guarantee that they would be here in Durham. I mean, if they go there and lose 2 or 3 games against Notre Dame, they might not be here right now. Their season could have ended.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. We should point out, too, Clayton Schmidt, 8 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 6. And Pat Krall had to come in and get the last out and had to get out of a jam there in the 9th inning. And he picked up another save, and that's 5 saves for him. Didn't throw a bunch of pitches either, so his arm tomorrow to come in and help the Tigers get a save to get to the championship. All right, a couple of more minutes here with K-Mac from Durham, and then we'll cut him loose so he can get underway with whatever it is he's going to be doing, coming back to Columbia or hanging out in Durham. How's Morgan? I know you were with Mike Morgan. Morgan on the move. We didn't reach him this week. We'll catch him next week. He's doing the championship game, right? Isn't he doing the championship game Sunday?
He is doing the championship game Sunday, and he did make note that we've missed him this week. And I told him, I guess I told him a lie that we were going to call him tonight. So well done there.
Yeah. Well, with all the people at ESPN either retiring or getting fired from what I've been reading today, talking with Chris Berman retiring, though his agent denies it. Mike can just keep on moving on up that ladder at ESPN. He might be the man one day. He might be sitting there doing Mike Morgan from Pittsburgh doing the NFL on ESPN.
Yeah, addition by subtraction there at ESPN, it sounds like.
I think he'd go for that. That.
One thing about Mike Sunday, there might not be a game Sunday. As we know, the weather is very shaky. I know on the coast here, down there in South Carolina, they're talking about tropical storms. There's a little potential tropical storm / hurricane brewing out there in the Atlantic, and the forecast on Sunday up here looks really bad. And there was some scuttlebutt in the press box that ACC officials, might try to see if they can work something out to maybe play the game Saturday night. Just throwing out things, and because that late game wouldn't matter as much if Clemson and Florida State are both in. Maybe they could punt on the last game, which wouldn't matter, and play the championship Saturday night, or just hope they catch a major break with the weather. But that's something to keep an eye on. It's just the weather forecast this weekend.
Yeah. Excellent point. Okay, and so tomorrow for the Tigers against Wake Forest, do we know anything more about the pitching plans?
No, we don't. We're still waiting, and I'm sure Monty and Coach C are going over that right now. You mentioned Krall. He'll be a bullpen guy. I don't know if they would use him 3 straight games or not. He only had to get 1 out today, so I would imagine he's available in some capacity, but not to start. They won't start him. He'll be a bullpen guy. But they do have all hands on deck because Schmidt gave them a great outing and Barnes gave them a great outing. They've only had to use a few pitchers in these 2 games. Eubanks threw a couple innings yesterday, and then it was to Krall. Today it was all Schmidt and Krall. And Barnes got the start yesterday, so they have a plethora of options there and fresh arms in their rotation ready to go.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what they've been able to do here of late, considering they are just piecing their pitching staff together with wet chewing gum. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They just are kind of, throwing guys in here and there for the most part.
Yeah, and their defense. I mean, they had 2 more errors today. They have 5 errors in 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
That they've won them both against great teams. I looked it up just because I was curious. They're ranked like 234th nationally in defense, a 40-win team. They're behind the Citadel, behind Charleston Southern. They're going to have to tighten that up because that will burn them as they move along.
No question. All right, K-Mac, great job as always. Thank you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week as we get ready for regional play. Full Monty on NASCAR coming up next. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, underway in Durham, NC State, and who are they playing? NC State is playing. I wasn't paying attention. They're playing Georgia Tech. Okay, playing Georgia Tech. I think it's scoreless there so far. Let me check a couple of other quick things, then we'll get to the full Monty on NASCAR. Yeah, it is NC State and Georgia Tech playing right now. No score there. SEC, we told you A&M ousted Vandy 13-3 Florida. Mississippi State, they're just getting underway. And Big South is all set. We're going to talk to Jim Toman coming up next break. William & Mary College of Charleston, CAA, scoreless in the bottom of the first. And Southern, Greensboro, and Furman just getting underway. So I think we're up to date on that. The golf, Clemson still in second. Tigers are making the turn more or less, playing holes 8 through 11. They're 2 under, 2 shots back of Florida State. South Carolina has moved up into a tie for 16th, moved up a spot since our last check on that. Busy night here on Sports Talk. Busy weekend. This is your weekend. If you are a race fan, no doubt, you've got a Formula One race early in the morning. Then you've got Indy around noon, and then the 600 around 6:30 or so. Let's welcome in the full Monty on NASCAR, Monty Dutton. You can read his stuff at montydutton.com. So, I mean, I know the NASCAR is your thing, but do you watch Indy? Do you watch Formula One as well this weekend?
Yes, because particularly the Monte Carlo is really special in Formula One. It's one of those places where it's just really, the whole atmosphere is wonderful, and I think it's fun to watch. And I've always I used to, right before I started covering the NASCAR full time, I used to go to the Indy 500, and I sort of always missed it. And I haven't been to it, but the only time I've been to it since was when Tony Stewart ran the double.
Yeah.
And I was on this junket where we went to Indianapolis and then flew back to Charlotte. And, but that's the only time I've been back to Indy. And of course, the 600 is I'm sort of encouraged by it. I thought the quality of the racing was real good last week. The quality of communication wasn't real good because I thought that I wrote a column on the competitionplus.com website, which I write a column every week about how we overestimate. We start thinking that everybody who covers racing follows it all on Twitter and reads a lot. And I think we underestimate the fact that, many people just come in, sit down in front of the TV and turn on and see what's going on. And they don't know all these things and they rely on television. And I really thought that last week during the All-Star race, I thought it was a bit disquieting because on TV it was like you just heard, wow, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Beats me.
Yeah.
I thought it was, just people really didn't have any idea. Another thing I thought it was really funny is that if you went and covered and you followed racing years ago, at the end of the first segment, it didn't surprise me at all that within that hodgepodge of pit stops that a bunch of people fell a lap behind. But we live in an environment now where people are all of a sudden saying, well, they'll all take the wave around. Well, there wasn't a wave around there. And so I thought there were a lot of things that should have been communicated better for the fans.
Yeah. But the key thing is, besides the confusion, which made for some lighthearted times on television, trying to figure out what they were saying because they were trying to figure it out themselves. The race was good. It turned out to be very competitive and scintillating there towards the end of the race.
I thought the racing, I really can't give a better compliment. I used to really love Charlotte, and to me, the racing on last Saturday night reminded me of Charlotte in the 80s and 90s when it was. It's always been. I have to tell you also that another thing that kind of cast a damper on me about Charlotte is that my workload was so much greater for the local race up there, and the worst possible thing for a beat reporter for me was the fact that the races, Saturday night races are tough, but Sunday night races, I used to get through it leave the track at 2 in the morning and have to get up at 6 o'clock and do the syndicated race page that I used to do. So it was really, then drive home, and it was really exhausting. And so I sort of lost some of the love of Charlotte just because of the fact it was so hectic that I didn't have time to enjoy it.
Yeah, I can certainly understand that. All right, so we're looking ahead to the 600, and also NASCAR has been doing some things here recently with the rules package for the rest of this year and looking ahead to 2017. And what things are they tinkering with? What are they trying to get to here with this now?
Well, I think they basically had a very successful experiment during the All-Star race, and so they're going to try to recreate that at a couple of upcoming races, the first of which I believe is Michigan in just a couple of weeks. I think that's right. But I know Michigan's one of the tracks they're going to. I think that in some ways, I think it's a real downer if they experiment and it works really well, but if they do like they did last year and pull back and don't use those during the chase, I would like to see them, when something obviously works, stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess their position is they don't want to alter the balance of competition in the chase. But I would get this stuff rolled out there, and by midsummer, if it's all working, I'd say this is going to be the way it is the rest of the year. But I don't know whether they'll do that or not. Maybe they learned from last year and they will. You really never know what NASCAR is going to do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like today's a real dead day at Charlotte. Practically nothing goes on. And so a close friend of mine, a longtime colleague, he needs to have a life more than this, but he came down to Clinton and we had lunch today. And so we had a long discussion, and I was telling him that what's so frustrating about NASCAR is that he was talking about he was comparing something that happened in NASCAR recently to Cam Newton after the Super Bowl and the criticism he got for being sort of petulant. And I told him that I said, that notwithstanding, I said, I think there were extenuating circumstances, but the fact is that the last few years that I was on the circuit, when the season was over, I covered a lot of Panthers games. And I said that the thing about covering other sports is you can depend on things. You know that a certain number of people, they're going to open the locker room up, and that they're going to be these players in the post-conference, there's going to be a press conference with the coach. And one of the things that's so tough when you cover NASCAR is that they can tell you all these things, and then all of a sudden after the race, when you need it, and you're late, and you've made your budget based on this happening, all of a sudden it just doesn't happen, And so I thought that, I said, as a general rule, the NFL is a lot more reliable because NASCAR has a habit of kind of saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. You don't have, like, for instance, you're in the press box and they said, well, you can ask questions from the press box, and then all of a sudden the connection doesn't work or whatever. So it's a lot more reliable in other sports. And then the other thing is that, if you're watching a baseball game and you're watching the Braves announcers are paid by the Atlanta Braves, and you expect them to be kind of positive. But in other sports, if they makes a bad call, they say it's a bad call. And in NASCAR, they just hem and haw. It seems like they're afraid to do anything but just blithely, accentuate the positive. And that's something that is all, to me, it's like when you watch, the coverage is sort of fundamentally different because it's like the coverage is done, by PR instead of by journalism, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I'm quite, critical.
Quite petulant. You're quite petulant tonight, Monty. Take some time off, enjoy your weekend, get the petulantness out of you.
Yeah, I need to get that petulance going. That's a fact.
And we'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Phil.
Thank you very much. The petulance. Monty Dutton. Read his stuff on his blog. Great stuff. MONTEDUTTON. Back in a moment. Well, if the restaurants in Columbia have noticed an uptick in the revenue the last few days, there's a big reason for that. Jim Toman back in the Midlands area with his Liberty baseball team. He joins us on Sports Talk. Congratulations. How are you?
I'm doing great, Phil. How's the guru himself doing now?
I'm hanging in there, brother. Hanging in there. Have you been hitting some of your old hot spots while you're in town?
You know what? These trainers and strength and conditioning people, they want me eating all these salads and all these healthy foods. So I was trying to get the mellow mushroom and pizzeria uno, but we're eating healthy now. So I guess that's why we're winning.
Well, I'm coming out to see you tomorrow. How much have you lost?
Awesome.
How much have you lost?
Well, I'm a lean, mean fighting machine right now, but you know, the TV is on ESPNU tomorrow, so that'll probably make me look a little bit bigger. But I've lost about 30. So
hey, good
I'm
for
doing
you.
Okay.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, you got your team in the championship game against Coastal. Coastal's playing great. You got anything for them tomorrow, you think?
Well, we're going to show up. Now, they're really good, and 1 through 9, they can really hit it. I think they've got close to 90 home runs and about 90 stolen bases, and they're really good. They've been in the top 25 all year, and they're really good. I think they're fighting to maybe even host the regional possibly if they can win tomorrow. It remains to be seen, but we'll have our hands full. But I can promise you that the Flame Train will show up.
Oh, have no doubt. Now, you know, you had to win a high-scoring slugfest this afternoon. Do you have much pitching left in the tank that you can run out there tomorrow?
Well, we had 2 or 3 injuries on our pitcher staff this year, so we're a little bit thin. But our hitters have swung it well. We've been pretty good defensively. We've actually we played a ton of one-run games, and we lost a bunch early, but we've won 9 out of 10. So the guys feel okay, and we realize the Coastal's sort of like David and Goliath. It's going to be, we're not going to be favored by any stretch tomorrow. But, it's one game, winner take all for the Big South Championship and an automatic regional bid. So, our guys are going to scratch and claw and fight. And, if they beat us, they're going to have to beat us. We're going to go down swinging. I can promise you that.
Yeah. And this is probably your only entry way into the NCAA tournament, right? You've got to win tomorrow to get in.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we have to win tomorrow. If we win tomorrow, we're in. If we lose tomorrow, it's the end of the season. But, we're 9 out of 10, so we're getting hot at the right time. And, the guy feels good about it. But it was a long, hot day today, and we were up early, and then they came back, and Radford kept fighting back, and ended up winning 11-10. In the last inning, they would have had to beat us twice, but I certainly didn't want to play that second game today. But we're back at the hotel, got a good team meal, resting up, and first pitch is at 12:02 tomorrow.
I'll be there. What do you think about the tournament in Lexington at that ballpark? What do you think about it?
Well, the Lexington people have been very hospitable to us, and I obviously lived in this area when I was at South Carolina. The first 3 or 4 years I lived over there by the Roundhouse, and then I moved out to Lexington for a couple of years, and I moved out to Irma. So I always knew that Lexington was a good baseball town, and these people were really working very hard to provide us with a really good tournament. So we appreciate all the efforts from the people over in Lexington, and it's been a great tournament. I think all the players and coaches appreciate what Lexington's doing for us.
Yeah, when they used to talk about the Roundhouse, I thought they were talking about you, but I was
a big guy, that's for sure.
The Roundhouse is no more, and apparently much of you is no more.
Well, I'm not exactly a slim, trim, 200 pounds, but I'm doing okay.
I know. How's your family doing?
Doing great. My daughter Caroline, on a shout out to her. She's graduating high school tomorrow. From Liberty Christian Academy up in Lynchburg, and she got a big academic scholarship to Pepperdine. So she's never got a B in high school, so she she got all them academics from me, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And she's actually she had never got a B in high school, so she's heading out to the wrong coast out there in Pepperdine, out in California. But I'm proud. I'm gonna miss her graduation tomorrow. So I love her, and I'm sorry I can't be there, Caroline.
Oh, my goodness. Well, they'll film it for you. You can watch it when you're riding the bus back or watch it when you get home, I'm sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, listen, thank you so much on short notice for being with us. Good luck tomorrow against Coastal. Should be a heck of a ball game. Look forward to seeing you guys out there at Lexington.
All right, Phil. Thanks so much, buddy.
Thank you, Coach. Best of luck to you. All right, Jim Toman. Jim Toman going head-to-head with Gary Gilmore tomorrow. I don't know if the Flames, they have enough in the tank for this very good Coastal team, but still got to play the game. Got to get those 27 outs back in the moment. Thanks again to Jim Toman for joining us tonight here on Sports Talk. One more recruiting note. Today, USC offered 2018 running back Master Teague III of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Murfreesboro's got some players, about 3 or 4 guys in that town who have big-time offers, at least that I've run across. Master Teague III. That's the guy's name, Master Teague III. South Carolina's offered him 2018 class. Okay, one final update for you before we head off into the Memorial Day weekend. A reminder, Sports Talk will be here live show on Monday night. We're always live on Memorial Day Monday, Memorial Weekend Monday, because that's a big sports day in our state. The host sites come out tomorrow night, 8:30, on a crawl on ESPN. And then the actual top 8 seeds and the pairings for all the regionals come out noon on Monday. We'll be here to go over it all with you on Monday night here on Sports Talk. Now to the golf tournament. Clemson still tied for second. Tigers are playing the 9th through the 12th holes now. Tied with LSU for second. Both are even, 3 shots behind Florida State at this point. As for the Tigers card, Nimmer, he's playing number 13. He remains 2 under. He leads the Tigers. Stephen Bear, he's making the turn at 1 under par. All right, so Clemson is tied for second. South Carolina's moving up as teams are moving behind them. Gamecocks went out this morning. They shot 7 over as a group. So now they're tied for 15th, and their position could improve considerably as other teams play and fall behind them. Just looking to see who's still out there who could drop behind them. Certainly California and Southern Cal, they're at +3. They have holes left. South Florida, Vandy, Illinois left. So probably here over the next couple of hours as other teams finish up. Checking baseball. NC State has taken the lead over Georgia Tech. And it's, I think it was 3-0. Last time I saw the score flashed up. Yeah, top of the third, 3-0. And SEC tournament elimination game in Hoover. See what we have here. It's Florida. Florida out to the 5-1 lead on Mississippi State in the top of the second inning there. Okay. Well, that's going to do it. Thank you for being with us tonight as you travel about this holiday weekend. Be safe. Be back with us on Monday. Thank you, Carsonova Mason. She did a fabulous job. Went out and covered the Coastal game for us today at the Big South. Fabulous job. Great job behind the scenes tonight. Thanks to Pro and KMAC this week for great work as always. And we look forward to a great sports weekend. Enjoy it. And we'll see you Monday night right here on Sports Talk.